Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're deciding my final TBR of the year. This video is going to be my December TBR, and I feel like there's a lot riding on this TBR because not only am I going to be doing my Best Books of the Year awards very soon, I also had a pretty good reading month last month in some ways, but in some other ways, like nothing was hitting how I wanted it to hit. So I feel like December has a lot riding on it. Also, I have big plans for January and like what my TBR is going to look like then, because basically I'm planning some very fun videos. I'm going to try and do a video where I am rereading my favorite books to see if they're still my favorite. So that kind of means that my TBR is a bit locked in for January. So now we have just December to consider. My TBR was all over the place last month. This month, I want to focus on cozy reads. I want to focus on winter stories. But also, I've been doing a lot of my own writing this month, and I don't want to read anything that is going to get too close to the thing that I'm trying to write, because it does not help me at all to overthink what I'm writing when I am reading similar books, if that makes sense. And of course, as usual, we'll be introducing a sense of random chance because I'll be using my TBR jar to pick out at least 4 different books. So let me grab my TBR jar. Okay, here it is. We're going to be picking at least 4 books from here that are going to be utterly random. Then I will also be looking at the books that I chose last month, and I'm going to be looking at which ones I did not get to, and if I'm going to be bringing them forward into this month or if I'm going to be DNFing them, because some of those books have been brought forward like multiple months in a row, and if I'm not reading it multiple months in a row, then I should just be finishing like with that book. I should just be DNFing, or like not DNFing, like just unhauling that book. But as usual, I'm most nervous about the TBR jar, so I might just start here with the picks for the month because I get so nervous every single time about picking different books. The colours in the TBR jar do make a difference, and yet again I always forget what colour refers to what, but there are 4 different colours in there. Like the orange ones are a pretty rare find though, so maybe because I'm most nervous I think we should start here. Let's just like rip the band-aid off, and so let's just pick the first book I'm going to be reading in the month of December. God, this could be anything. Or what do I not want it to be? I don't really want it to be non-fiction. I'm not really in the non-fiction mood. I did read 1 non-fiction last month, but okay, it's blue. Once again, I can't remember what blue means. I should always look this up before I start filming, but I do not. The book is Outline by Rachel Cusk. Okay, I'm like not mad at that. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm not like angry. Let's get the book. Okay, here's the book. I found it. I love this cover so much, which is the reason why I picked this book up. Also, it is really well reviewed, and I've never read any Rachel Cusk books before, but I've heard very good things. This one I think is actually a trilogy, at least. This is the first one in a trilogy. And the impression I get about what this book is about is that it's like an outline of a book. It's kind of like an author interviewing characters, I think. Outline is a novel in 10 conversations. Spare and lucid, it follows a novelist teaching a course in creative writing. So I think it's going to be very meta, like a book about writing a book. Maybe this will be really helpful to me actually this month, because I'm like really knuckling down and doing so much writing this month and last month. So this might actually be quite helpful, because this is not going to be the type of book I'm writing. I'm not doing literary fiction, so it won't interfere in that way, but maybe it'll inspire me to really think about what I'm writing. So this is actually, I think, a great time to be reading this book. If you've read this, then let me know, because I want to know your thoughts on that. But I'm pretty pleased with that as a first pull from the jar. Let's pull the second one. Alright, I'll try not to pick blue again, just to keep it, you know, exciting, keep it fresh. Alright, I've got one, but I can't see what colour it is. Oh, one just fell out. Do I pick the one that fell out, or do I pick this one that I had? I'll pick this one originally, because orange, and we don't have many orange. The book is... No! I don't want to read The Godfather right now. Anyone that saw my TBR last month, I was like, I really hope I don't pick out The Godfather from my TBR jar, and I didn't, and now I just did. Oh, I should have picked the one that was on the floor. Oh. Well, we've got to do it. It's, you know, it's fine. This is the reason I have the TBR jar. It's so that I pick up books and I start them intentionally, and then if I don't like the book, I can get rid of it out of my life, you know? It's not doing any good just sitting on the shelf, so let's grab it. Let's grab the book. Oh, okay, here it is. The chunky boy itself. The Godfather by Mario Puzo. I've not ever seen the film, before you ask. I've not seen any of them. I don't know if I ever want to. Like, is mafia my thing? Why have I even got this book? A modern masterpiece set in the 1940s criminal underworld. Tells the story of the Corleone... I don't even know how you say that name. Corleone family. Alright. How many pages is it, actually? Oh, God. It's in the 600s. It's just about 600 pages. Although it's like quite big text, relatively. Has anyone read this? Why am I so nervous to read it? I don't know. Well, because it's 600 pages, obviously, but maybe it'll be like a good book for over Christmas. I don't know. Like, maybe this could be my new favourite book. Like, I don't know. I should not be so negative. So we're going to add that to the stack. And then I might... This is the one that fell on the floor. I feel like it jumped out at me. You know when you do tarot card readings and like when a card jumps out when you're shuffling, it means that you have to pick that card. So like maybe this is the same thing and I should be picking this one. So let's see what it is. Oh, I've already read it. Wandering Souls. So it wasn't jumping out at me for any other reason. Other than that, I already read it last month. So that's fine. Let's get rid of that one. Let's pick another greeny yellow. I might just pick from the top. Pick this one. It's got this pink one attached to it. Okay. Here it is. It's Pisces, which I've already read. Pisces, my Melissa Broder. Another one I've already read. I might need to like restock my TBR jar soon. I'm going to just pick another of this colour from the top. The Island of Dr. Moreau. Oh, I kind of want to save that for like a spooky horror vlog type vibe because it's like a horror-y, it's like a classic, but I'm pretty sure it's quite scary. Is it scary? Or it's like sci-fi? So I actually think, is this cheating to put it back in? I kind of want to save it for a specific reading vlog. Also, I've got another book called The Daughter of Dr. Moreau, and I was going to read them in the same video, kind of as a vlog type thing. So I'm going to put that back in. Sorry to anyone who's like a TBR jar purist. I'm going to pick up another one. This one. Imagine if I just picked out the same one again. Okay, it is. Oh, it is a non-fiction. And it is Will I Ever Have Sex Again by Sophie Hagen. I'm actually not mad at this. I'm quite excited to read it. And I feel like it'll be very different to the other two books that I've already picked. So let me grab it from the shelf. So here is the book. I really like this cover. And this was actually sent to me by Sophie herself, which is just the sweetest thing. And there was a really lovely note in it as well. And it's basically a book all about sex. And I don't think it's like a memoir. I think it's more like a conversation about sex and what it means to be involuntary celibate, and like there's lots of stuff like conversations with sex therapists, sex workers, porn stars, comedians, like different public figures and stuff like that. I think this will be really interesting to read. I think it'll be fun. And I have so many like non-fictions that are just building up on my shelf at the minute that I'm not picking up and reading. But I feel like this will be like a good one to get done, and it will also be like on the lighter side because Sophie Hagen is a comedian. If you did not know, this is what they look like. You might recognize them from the picture. So that is going on the stack and I'm not mad at it. That is the 3 that we've got so far, and I need to pick one more. I hope it's not another non-fic because I'm done now with that. Like we got away with it with one that I'm happy with. I hope there's not another classic. Ideally, I'd like a fantasy because we've got literary fiction, we've got like a classic, and we've got a non-fiction. So I'm going to pick, what colour haven't we not got yet? We haven't done a pink. I'll do a pink. We'll do this pink. Is this ASMR? The book is... Oh, it kind of is a fantasy. It's a mythology retelling. Electra by Jennifer Saint. This is one I've just had for so long. Just sitting there. Let's grab the book. Here it is, and it is such a pretty one. And I've definitely read a book by Jennifer Saint before. What else did she write? Was it Ariadne? Yes, she wrote Ariadne as well, which I liked. I didn't love, but I liked it a lot, and I think it was like a very fun, kind of like relatively easy, very like palatable read, if that makes sense. So this one I'm very happy to read, and I don't know much about the original myth either about Electra. I also have a separate book called Clytemnestra, which is another character in this one. It's the sister of Electra. So that'll be kind of interesting. I can then read maybe the Clytemnestra book as well and like do like a little... Maybe I'll do like a video all about mythology and like retellings and everything, because I've read quite a lot of them and I have thoughts. So that is the 4th book for the TBR jar stack. It didn't do us too badly in the end, apart from this bad boy. We've got lit fic, we've got classics, we've got non-fiction, and we've got fantasy / retellings. So not too bad. How does this make me feel about the rest of my TBR? I think we've got a good collection there. We've got some that'll like push me and some that'll be more like easy reads. So that's like quite a nice stack to have. But what we should do next is look at the books that I'm currently reading, the books that I didn't manage to read from next month, and like see what I'm taking from last month's TBR towards this month. Already I have a couple next to me that I'm like in the middle of. This one I am currently reading still. I'm only 10% in. You've probably heard me talk about it in my previous TBRs. This is Independent People. It's an Icelandic classic and it is really well written. It's just very slow and it's mainly just about a man and his sheep and he's just wandering around. And he got married and it's not going well, but I'm 10% in, so I feel like I need to give it time, you know, but I am going to pull this over to this month's TBR as well. And then I had this book that if you saw my wrap up that I uploaded, this one is one that I have soft DNF'd. I've read like 10% of it, so it's kind of a current read, but I might not finish it. I'm like undecided, so I'm going to put it on the stack tentatively for now, but I'm going to see what else we've got. And then let me show you up here, because this is where I put my books that I've had on the TBR from the previous month. So I need to see what's still left. So actually there's 4 books up here, and this is quite a lot for me actually that I have not managed to get to. We have Foundry Side. I'm definitely still interested in reading this one. This is going to go directly on this month's TBR, so that one can go there. And let me grab down the other 3 books as well. Okay, so these 3 were on the TBR last month, although this was a late edition. I added it on after I saw the Goodreads Awards nominees, popular fiction, whatever that thing is. This was on there for the non-fiction, so I added it to my TBR late because it got longlisted and then shortlisted in those awards. So I'll carry this over definitely, and because I didn't really give it a fair chance to read it. Also, it's not actually that long. It's only about 200 pages. So I don't think that'll take me too long, and I think it'll be an interesting read. This is a non-fiction from Salman Rushdie, and it's about the experience in his life after he was attacked and stabbed on stage while he was accepting an award, I believe, and kind of what that act of violence did to his life and did to his like writing and everything. So I think that'll be an interesting read, so we'll add that to the TBR for this month. Oh my god, this stack is already going to fall over. And then these are the other 2. This is another non-fiction. It's a memoir. It's by Jordan Stevens of Rizzle fame, and this has been on my TBR for a while. It's been on my monthly TBR for a while. I think I got this in a TBR jar pull and I haven't yet come around to it. And same with this one. This one actually I read the first couple of pages of it because I wanted to see what the tone was. And it is in second person. So that is a bit tough sometimes to read. But I'm still interested enough in this one, I think. I don't want to unhaul it right now. I don't want to unhaul either of them. I'm just not sure what to do because I don't want to add too many from last month onto this month. So I will add this one, but I might not add this one. This one might go back on like the longer TBR for now because I don't want to unhaul it. But I'm not going to read I'm not going to read 3 memoirs this month. I'm not going to do Salman Rushdie and Sophie Hagen and this one. So I'll just add this one for now. But that is looking, let me show you already. It's like looking pretty big, looking pretty, a lot of pages there, a lot of words. So that is quite interesting, and we have no ones currently on there that are winter themed, and I definitely have a few on my shelf that are that vibe that I want to add. Speaking of which, let's find them. Let's grab some from my shelf. Okay, so this is the TBR. We have this little section here and then this one down here. Which ones were winter themed that I wanted to read? Let me know as well if any of these are like strongly winter, snow, you know, like that vibe that I'm not aware of. Obviously not spring. Oh, this one. This has got snow on the front. Small things like these. And I think it's set in a winter's day, or I don't know. But this movie has just come out and I really want to watch the movie as well and read this book. So this one is going on the stack, and that'll be a short, lovely read. I already know that I love Claire Keegan, so that can go. Where's my stack? Over here. We also have this book down here, which is Winter Keep, which is in the series that I'm still reading by Kristen Kishore that starts with Graceling, and I want to keep going and finish this series as well. So, and this one I mean, it's called Winter Keep, like, has to be something about winter or snow or ice or something going on. Also, just, oh, I love this cover. Everything's so shiny. So this one will be like a young adult fantasy. It's in a series I'm already reading. I actually have no idea what characters we're even following. I see Bitter Blues on there. I don't want to read the blurb though, because I hate reading blurbs. If you know about me, I just do not read that many blurbs. But that can go on that stack. Do not fall over stack, please. Okay, the other one that I was thinking was like quite wintry is The Wolf and the Woodsman. I think that starts in like a wintry forest vibe. Something about this just like screams winter to me. Yeah, the bitter northern tundra. We'll see if I'm right, but also this has just been on my shelf for so long and I've not read it yet. I think Avery Reed's coming out with a new book that I want to read, so I should read her first. I think this is her first one ever, so let's add this to the stack too. Please don't look at the desk behind me because it is an absolute disgrace. I need like a big clear out, but that's a January job. That's not a this time of year job. This time of year is nesting, you know? Let's do another scan for anything like extremely wintry that's jumping out. Anything? I don't think so. I don't know, every time I film this TBR, like a TBR video, I always lose the light. Like, it's just like, it's so dark when I film these videos. We've picked out winter books. We've picked out TBR Jar. We've picked out ones that I'm dragging from last month to this month. The stack is very tall, but I also have to pick out a couple from my heart, you know, just ones that I want to read. What one is going to scream Christmas to me? Which one am I going to like snuggle on the sofa with? Do you know what I mean? And I think for me, the choice is this one. Books That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I feel like I'm going to love it. I feel like when I've got some brain space to read again, this could be a contender for a favorite book of the year. It's a fantasy, it's a book about stories, it's got really good reviews, lots of people really like it, and so I think I'm gonna like it as well. So that is The Book That Wouldn't Burn, and that's gonna go on the stack. But honestly, that might be all we can manage because look at this. I don't know, I think that might be too much for 1 month. Yikes. The issue is though, there's something about this stack that is not leaving me like excited, and the whole reason we do this TBR is to get excited about reading, so I don't want it to feel like a chore, and I'm trying to like pinpoint what in this stack is like not giving me the vibe that I want. That's all it is already. That's too big. This cannot be done, especially when I'm trying to get so much writing done this month. This is absolutely not gonna happen. So let's just run down this list and see what I'm not looking forward to. Obviously those ones I just picked up, I am looking forward to. I think perhaps to make this easier, we take out Profit. Oh my god, it's so heavy. Thumbnail. I think we take out Profit to make this easier because also that's like a big old chunky book. And I've already read 10% of it and yeah, that was obviously gonna happen. And I didn't like it, and by the time I get round to doing an unhaul, it hangs on at that point, then maybe I'll give it another go, but not right now when I'm like struggling to like get excited about reading, which is another reason why I'm doing the video that I'm going to be planning in January, where I'm going to be rereading my favourite books, or like what I think of as my favourite, and then I'm going to see if they really are favourites. Because that's the thing about making content around books, is that you're often feel pressure to read new books all the time, and like what's coming out and like the best in the genre and things like that, so that you can give the best recommendations and tell people what they should be reading. But a lot of the time that means that I'm not doing my natural inclination, which is rereading. I've always loved rereading books. I've done it since I was very young. I used to reread my favourite books all the time, and there is something so joyful about that. So that's going to be January. But let's write all this down in my Notion and see how it looks written on the page. Okay, so this is what we've already got. We have 4 from last month. This one I'm currently reading. And then we have 3 winter themed books. We have 4 from the TBR jar, and then we have currently 1 shelf pick, is what I'm calling it. Like one I've picked from the shelf. I'm also going to check my library holds, because I think a couple of books are coming in on there and I need to check. Okay, I've just checked my library holds and I have 2 coming in, like, or I need to read them but in this month, and it actually works out perfectly because they're both kind of like romantic fantasy books, which I think we're kind of like not getting that much of in the rest of this stack, and that is very fun to read over like winter Christmas time. Anyway, one of them is Strange the Dreamer. This is one I've been meaning to read this for the longest time, but I've never owned it physically, so it just ends up being like put down pretty low on my priority list because I don't own it. But I want to listen to the audiobook of this, and I've got this from my library, so I'm going to be reading that. Really, really excited. Reagan from Peru's Project always recommends this book, and we have very, very similar tastes. So I'm convinced that I'm really going to love this. I think it's one of her favourite books. And then the other one is Ruthless Vows, which is the second book after Divine Rivals. And I really liked that as a first book, actually. I wasn't like utterly obsessed with it, but for what it was, I thought it was really, really fun. And so I want to carry on with the series too. So that's going to be the next 2 books that I'm going to add to the stack mentally. But I've just written it all down on Notion, and that is 14 books, which for this month, that's enough for me. I'm not going to push it. I'm like allowed, technically my rule is that I'm allowed to add 16 books to my TBR because I read 16 books last month. So that's kind of like how I like decide how many I'm allowed to add. But I'm going to leave myself 2 as a gap to be like picking up random stuff, keep it interesting for myself. But obviously if I DNF any of these, I'll be picking up other books anyway. It keeps it all fun, keeps it all interesting. I can't believe I just finished filming this video and then forgot to mention, of course, the book that I'm going to be reading in December is going to be the new Stormlight Archive book, which is called Winds of Truth, and it comes out in like 4 days, and I'm so excited. That is going to be taking up a huge chunk of my time in this month. I will be reading that as soon as I can get my hands on it. Probably rereading it as an e-reader because I don't even think I'll be able to get it quick enough physically to start reading as quick as I want to. So I'll be reading that as soon as I can. It's the 5th book in, is it the 5th? Yeah, the 5th book in Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive. And I've been waiting for it, and it's gonna be so good. I cannot wait, I'm so excited. Comes out on the 6th of December, which may be very, very soon actually when this video goes up, but can't believe I forgot to mention that one. Honestly, that is kind of it. I'm gonna leave it there. Please let me know if you've read any of these books, if you'd recommend them, if you would not recommend them as well. I would also really like to know that. And let me know one book that you're gonna be reading before the end of the year as well. And please remember to like this video and leave a comment and subscribe to my video, and then go and watch all of my other videos as well. But that is all from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!